Testing. 1, 2, 3. What's my battery at right now? 33? I'll plug it in. And then the mic is going to be right there too.
Oh, it's a different club. Michael's the president of a different club.
That's the hackathon we're talking about?
Yeah.
It's a separate club. What's the name of that one?
The Association of Computing Machinery. So,
Does that mean you work on robots?
It's the majority of people in there.
Thank you for doing this.
Right. Great.
The majority of the people in there are computer science majors. We have a few engineering majors.
Well, if you need a mouse, I mean, I don't know if there's a whole lot of
It's
services,
kind of like
but
doing projects.
Preferences.
Going to
I have a mouse.
learning web dev,
All right, team.
So it is more.
Okay.
Damn, okay, cool. We have the whole situation somewhat figured it out now. So,
All right.
this is Evan.
All right.
Hey,
Evans.
Everybody quiet. This is Dan. Okay. So this is our GitHub organization. Everything's kind of run out of here. So it's organized with people. Let's see, me, the president and the vice president are owners on here. So we have admin perms to everything. Everybody else has no permissions unless you are on a team, which I will be assigning today based on what you do, really. So we have 3 teams. We have the design, the scripting, and the web. They're all pretty self-explanatory. Design if you do like modeling, scripting if you want to do the C# and the Unity engine, web if you want to work on our website, and that WebGL to host the games. Right now, everybody who's in the club this semester is not on a team. Last week we tried to just confirm that everybody was on the right team. I sent out invitations to everybody who went. If you're not invited right now, please let me know that, and I can send you an invitation. We can get you assigned where you want to be. So the way we organize this is we have 4 repositories. This one down here is just if you want to get started with Unity. It's a decent tutorial. This right here is the website. GitHub hosts our own little website for us, so this link right here will take you to the website, and if you go inside of it, it'll show you the source code. Fall 2016 was 2 semesters ago project. It was a top-down shooter. Runs decent. This is our current one. I don't know if we'll be changing it. It's a 3D horror, so that's cool. If you go in here, so all the code is just right here, but if you want to know what you should be doing, you go to the Projects tab, and then depending on what team you're on, you can use either of these. You will have access to both of these projects, so if you want to assign something you need done, even if you're not going to be the one able to do it, you can go in here. So if you're a developer, you'll look right here, and then you'll see that there are 5 or so panes. The first one is ready to assign, so you would go here. If you're looking for something to do, you can just see a summary of what they're looking for here. Then you can open it up. You can see, okay, so we have a day-night cycle, but we need to make it so stars aren't visible during the day. You say, okay, I can do this. So you can click assign yourself. I'm just doing this for example, and then once it's assigned, you just drag this over to assigned. Your little face will be up right next to it. Once you actually start working on it, you can assign it to yourself just to say you're going to do it. You could assign multiple to yourself. Try not to be greedy though. Multiple people can also be assigned. If you're going to be collaborating with them, please be actually working together though. If you're going to be doing multiple things. In this kind of case, it might have a sister issue like model a sky without stars. That'll be in the design project for designers. Once you start working on it, you can drag it over to in progress to show that you are actually have forked the code and are actively working on it. Once you're done and you've made a pull request, which I will show how to do, you move it to ready to review, just so other people will then click on it, say go down here, they'll look at your code. When you make a pull request that answers an issue, it will get linked to, so people will look at the pull request. All comments will be on there, but it will be linked to this original issue. People will, say what comments they have, what you may need to change, or whether it's just good to go as is. If it is good to go, then you can merge it and we move it to the done category. If you need to make more changes, you can move it back to in progress to show you're still working on it. Ready to review is just for if you're waiting for approval. It doesn't necessarily have to be from higher ups. It can be everybody has like the ability to comment. If it looks good, then it can get in. At first, we're probably going to be pretty harshly reviewing these. At first. Later on, once like people get like trustworthy with the quality of their code, that'll be great. Let me just unassign you. I don't think you want to do this. So that's going to be how we're going to organize this project. Right here, I assigned myself to one, just to show that I plan on working on this. Signed it May 5th, so I haven't done work in a long time. And then say you're on design, like. Let me go back. Why is that the volume button on the mouse? So down here there's a flashlight script. So a sister issue to this might be you need an actual model for the flashlight. So down in design, you could say, okay, there's no issue for a flashlight model. So let me just make that. And then you would say, and I don't know the number of it. Let me just go over and check what the number of that was. Flashlight script was number 60. So you say linked to 60, and then you submit the new issue. And then, so this way everybody will know it's right there. You can go over to projects, go to repository, and say it's part of design team's job. And then when you're over in projects, you go to design, and it won't show up here immediately. It'll show up here in the triage because it hasn't been assigned a category yet. And you put it in ready to assign, and then any person on the design team can see this, assign themselves. It'll go through. If you're waiting on this person, just keep yourself in assigned or wherever, and then once they model it and it gets all the way to done, you can continue. And that's the way we're going to do our workflow. If you need something done, you make an issue for it, you sign it to this. If you need something to work on, you go to the project, go to your team name, look at something ready to assign, and work down. Now the actual coding part, I recommend using GitKraken. It's a very good Git client. If you want to use GitHub Desktop, you can. If you want to use a different Git client, it may work. I'm the most experienced with GitKraken. So the way you work this is you clone the repository. Since we're logged into GitHub, we can just clone it right off of here. I'm just going to have to pick somewhere. Hope you don't mind us looking here. Whatever. We're just going to clone it to documents. Then we clone it. And then you wait. It's downloading the entire game down onto his computer. And then, so we just humbly wait for this.
So what makes GitKraken different from the regular GitHub client?
Regular GitHub client is basically they just put buttons to all the command line Git commands, which isn't the most user-friendly. It can be pretty confusing. This one, once it imports, you'll see that visually it makes much more sense what's going on. It shows the actual entire branching tree, which I want to explain once it's cloned. Because there is a master copy of the game called the master branch on GitHub, and we will not be editing that directly. So right here you can see these are all the branches. For some reason I can't move this down, but these are all the branches. It looks pretty complex. Each one of these circles is a change somebody made, and each one of these horizontal lines is it connecting into a different branch. As you can see, it's pretty complex. Here we can see I started with the pause menu. This was like 6 months ago. And nothing has happened, and here we are. Spencer actually has the most recent, that's why he's way up here. Master itself is down here. So there are a lot of changes that haven't been brought back to the master branch. So right here, we're just going to, for example, we're going to branch right here, and we name it example branch. And since we are on the repository itself, I can just push this empty branch. So the way Git works is you can make all these changes on your local computer, and you have free reign to undo everything, like nothing's permanent. But once you push, it becomes permanent. And if you want to delete anything, you have to do an opposite commit. So it's like if I create a branch here and then I'm like, I don't want a branch, I can just undo it. If I pushed it first, then I'd have to do a deletion branch and then push that. So right here we have master and example branch are at the same point, and then I can just go over to the game files, cloned it to documents. It is Canyon CS Club, and we've got a bunch of stuff here. Let's just say I want to change the README. I'll just use Notepad. So I just want to say this is Visual Studio, Unity, GitHub Desktop, or you can use Git Kraken. That's it. I just wanted an example to do. So we save this. You can just save this file directly because we already made the branch. Make sure you make a new branch before you make any changes, or else it'll log your changes as being on the old branch. So now that we're here, let's see, merge pull requests. We're on our example branch. We've saved the changes to this README file, and then I would like to, okay, so you see this dotted line shows that it's a local file that hasn't been pushed yet. So whenever you make a change, it'll show up at the top like this, since it is the most recent, and then it wants you to name the commit. So I'm just going to give it a very reasonable name, add git kraken to readme. And then you click on it, and then down here, the way Git works is you can do partial commits. If you change several files, you can just pick one file at a time. But since all I did was this one file that just says, or you can use git kraken, I move it from unstaged to staged like this. You need to stage all the files you want to actually be committed. Then add git kraken to readme. You don't need a description. It's recommended though.
You should give descriptions.
Yeah.
What is on stage?
It means that Git knows that you want to be committing this. If you don't stage it, it'll assume that you're going to save it for later.
Okay.
Okay, and so what we do is we commit. And right now, I could just hit undo with no consequences since I haven't pushed it. But I am going to push it. Also, if I did hit undo, it would undo my naming and description. So I don't want to do that. First time you make a branch, it'll ask you where you want to save it. You can put it on your origin. Since we don't have any other remotes here, we don't have to worry about this. You're allowed to push to the origin as long as you're not pushing to master. So the branch was called example branch. We'll just leave that at default. We submit this. We can see it's pushing by the loading sign right here. Okay, so it pushed successfully. Then if we go over here into the GitHub, we go over to code, we can see that it's telling us that there was a recent branch push, and it's suggesting we make a pull request. Down here under branches, we can see example branches right here. So now if we click this, it'll move to our version of the branch, which if we scroll down to the README, it will say, or you can use git kraken, because that's our change. Now if we want this branch to become the master, which is somewhere, there it is. Now if we want this to become the master, we have to make a pull request to merge our branch into the master, which is the accepted default branch. So we compare and make a pull request. It makes if you only have one commit, it'll suggest that commit's name to be the pull request name. We should recommend this git client. So right here, there's reviewers. You can suggest that people review this. So all these people might not be in the club. I'm going to have to go through and clean them up, remove their access to the repository. They're older members, because if they're not still here, they probably should not have access. Assignees, don't assign it to anybody, but you can label it if you want to be an enhancement. Labels are kind of unnecessary because everything's kind of an enhancement at this point. Projects, you can, well, whatever. Since this wasn't linked to an issue, we don't say, like, normally we would say fixes this issue or something, hiding cabinet temp. Except that's a pull request, so there's no really point in doing that. So we could do, make sure it's an issue. So if you use the keyword fixes, then once this gets merged, it'll close this one right here. So you definitely want to be able to link this. And then if I go through, I'm not going to merge it with this link right here, but I am going to create a pull request just to show in an example. Okay, so it tells you that there is a keyword used here. And then if we go over to the projects, go over to development, and then we go down to 60, it'll say that this has been referenced by number 80, and that little I will say that once that's merged, it'll close this. So anybody looking at this will look down here and see that it's been referenced. It won't show, you won't be able to tell that it's like this right over here. So you'll have to manually move it over to ready to review, just so that people will go, okay, this is ready to review. Click on it. They go through, they see that this change has been pushed. They can go here. Files changed will show this. It shows a difference. Anything in red is something you deleted from the file. Anything in green is something you added. So it just added this line and then a blank line. Now I'm going to go back. You can always change your comments. I'm just going to say it fixes no issues, because it's not really necessary. And then that will make it so it won't close that issue. And so right now, we have it set up so that you need at least one positive review before you can get pushed, but owners can force it anyway. So there is that. We recommend people log on occasionally. You can suggest reviewers if you know that they'll be good at reviewing it. All it'll do is send them an email or a notification saying that you were asked to review. So if you go over here, can you review yourself? Okay, apparently you can. So you say, yeah, this is really important. Importances. You don't need to have a review summary. You can literally just click approve, and okay, you can't approve your own pull request. So that is a thing. Okay, you can comment on your own pull request. So this is a general summary, but right here you can say, like, if you just want to be a snob, you can just, and that will be included in your review. It won't be sent immediately. And if you don't like it, you can delete it or edit it right away. And then in your review, since all we can do is comment, if one person approves it, then the entire thing is allowed to get merged by an owner right now. But once you guys are on teams, anybody will be able to push this, as long as it has one approve. If you request changes, that doesn't block it, but it does show a big red X saying somebody requested changes. But as long as one other person approved, then it's allowed to be merged. Requesting changes, though, is not permanent. You can do, I recommend you do the specific line thing saying, hey, right here you missed a semicolon, and then if they change it, your comment right here will disappear so that you know that they changed it. You don't have to go back and check, and then you can then go back and change that to an approve. Right now I'm just going to submit this comment review, and it says, yeah, this is really important, says. And then I prefer get Cly, thumbs down, get Cly sucks. And if this was a review, this would be a green check mark, this would be a green check mark, and then anybody can just merge this pull request. I'm just going to force this because it doesn't do anything anyway. And then once it's merged, anybody can delete this branch, but since it's not necessary, I recommend you delete it because otherwise it'll show up on this list till the end of time and it's already kind of cluttered, so we're just going to delete this branch. Try to delete any branch that is done with. You can just always branch it again. And so now if we look over here, we can see that our little change here got merged back into master. And then anytime you see that you're below master, you want to do a pull. And since it's the first time pulling, we are going to do this. All right, we deleted the branch. Okay, you just double click. Then you reset local to here. That'll just overwrite everything and just put you where you need to be. And so now we're back in the perfect spot, ready to branch again, make other changes. A pretty important thing though, with multiple branches, say 2 people branched right here, edited different files, one person comes in here, another person comes in here. If they edit different files, there will be no conflict. If they edit the same file and Git sees that they edited the same lines, the second person is going to have a conflict and they're going to have to manually resolve which lines get in. So that is a pain. You can still make your pull request. If you're not comfortable resolving conflicts, you can ask somebody else to do it and they'll look at the code and see what needs to be there. I don't think that'll be a huge problem since Unity is a lot of small files. So unless you're working on the same exact part as somebody else, you're fine. Multiple people can work on one branch. That's the benefit of doing it in the repository instead of off of other people's accounts. So there you go. That's how you use the projects. That's how you pull, edit the code, make a pull request, and get it merged.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So each branch is for a different project, essentially. Is that correct?
Each branch is for a different change you want to make.
Okay, so let's say Gerardo wants to make an item storage system, but then he's done with that. He later wants to make the pause menu. Would Gerardo make 2 different branches, one for the pause menu, one for the storage system?
Yeah, I highly recommend you do.
Okay.
You can, if you don't want to be very creative with naming your branches, you can just type in the issue number you're working on, and then space you're not allowed to use spaces, dash the name of what it is. But you definitely want to keep pull requests very small, because if there's too many features in one pull request, it slows down the whole thing. Because if somebody's editing this file and it's a big edit, nobody else can edit that file because they'll know that it'll create a conflict until that file's merged. So if it's a big pull request and it takes a long time to get reviewed, then way upstream it's just going to be a big roadblock. So try to keep them small, very focused on one issue at a time, and that way we can keep this smooth. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah.
I'm definitely going to need more help on this for sure.
Okay, for GitHub there are online tutorials. Projects are a pretty recent addition to GitHub.
Okay.
They are quite self-explanatory. GitHub is pretty helpful in showing what you need to do. Just
watch a few videos.
Yeah.
I'll just come back with questions.
The hardest
you
part
can
is
watch this
using
too.
clients.
Yeah.
I'm recording this.
Oh, you
It
are?
has his
Okay.
voice and everything.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
I had one from earlier. I forget what it was though.
Did you already mention that Git Kraken Pro is free for students?
Yeah. So right here, Hunter's using the free trial. How much does it let you use for free?
I just downloaded this because it was on the website. I did not. I think I applied for a GitHub student, but it was an application, and it said that it was pending or something. And I don't know if I checked my email or something. Maybe it has more something where I can activate it right now. I just downloaded this because I figured, you know what, it's almost 11.
Okay. Yeah. So the way you get GitKraken is it is paid for software, but they give it to you free if you sign up for the GitHub student pack. So what you need to do is add your student email to your GitHub account. You can have multiple emails on there. And then you just look up GitHub student pack, apply for it using your student email. And I was accepted within 24 hours. I've heard some other people got rejected, which is weird. I don't know, just say you're a computer science student and you need this for developing. I don't see how they can reject you.
I was accepted in less than 24 hours, like in a couple hours.
Yeah. So highly recommended. This is probably the best Git client I've used. It also comes with other stuff. This isn't a sales pitch for it. We just need GitKraken here.
We need to get cracking.
I'll send it in general, actually. I just got the link for the student
Okay.
education pack.
Cool, thank you.
Okay.
And do you put it in the Discord?
Yeah, I'll put it in the
All right.
Discord general.
Okay.
Actually, I remember what I was going to say. It wasn't a question. Regarding people like proofing, what was the word that GitHub uses for people to proof your code?
Oh, review?
Review. If you're waiting on someone to like review your code, it's like someone you sent it to someone in particular. If you feel like they're taking a while, it's like a week, and they're like you were expecting it to be done, you can just use Discord and just kind of like use at whatever their username is, just to try to get things going a bit faster. So I highly recommend you log on to our Discord.
Okay, and if anybody is not currently in our GitHub organization, doesn't matter if you're not in a team or if I've already sent you an invite, just send me your GitHub email or GitHub username via Discord. I'm Evanito in there. So that's really it for this. Once you're in the organization, you'll have access to do what you want. It's going to take us probably not too long to work out what we need people to be doing. So we'll just be making a ton of requests for you guys to grab and start working on. Unity in itself is the community support for Unity is incredible. So you can just find so many tutorial videos and projects on Unity. So, any other questions? That's it? Okay, cool.
And also, if you make changes within the Unity engine, and you save your changes, whatever, as long as you're editing the file that GitHub is like pointing to, because right now when he downloaded the game to my computer somewhere in my hard drive, and when he made that change, that README, he made the change like in that folder, in that project folder for Unity. If you make any changes, you're in engine or you have Visual Studio up or whatever, you're changing code, and you click save, GitHub or GitKraken in this will already know that that changes were made, and they will show up. So all you need to do is just send the pull request. That's about it. I'm gonna